Hey, I'm John from Magpul. If you've been following us for a while, you've probably seen our stock videos where we outline the multitude of stocks we make for the AR-15 platform. Everything from your basic original staple MOE carbine stock all the way through the UBR Gen 2 and the PRS Gen 3 fully featured, very specific stocks for whatever purpose you need and everything in between. We're going to talk about the 5 newest ones. We've rolled out a bunch of new stocks in the last year, and you're going to see the newest one right about the time this video comes out. We're going to start with the DT. So the DT, direct lineage from the CTR stock, one of the most recognizable AR stocks that's ever been made. And the CTR was innovative in a lot of ways. It was an extremely strong, environmentally tolerant polymer that eventually led to the first PMAG. We were so impressed with the material that that thing could lend itself to a magazine, and that was one of the reasons you have the PMAG today that most people know and use. The CTR was innovative because it had a pinch lock, so when we saw the difference in tube diameters, no two buffer tubes are the same. When we look at all those carbine buffer tubes, receiver extensions, whatever term you want to use, they're not very tightly controlled in their dimensions, so you may get a stock and you can put it on one tube from the same manufacturer and it would be extremely loose. Get another one, fit would be perfect. Get another one, it would be almost too tight to function. So we needed a way to adjust a stock for the tube. Regardless of what tube size you had, you could buy a stock and know you were going to get a great fit. And that was one of the cool things about the CTR. It had a pinch lock on the front. If you've ever seen a CTR, that's a little lever right here on the toe of the stock. And that would allow you to clamp it onto the buffer tube. And then when you activate it, it would pop the lock off. You could adjust it very easily and then click it back on and optimize the fit of your stock. One of the other things the CTR had that you didn't see a lot back then was an integrated QD cup. You would either have a footman's loop or a bolt-on QD cup, or maybe what looked like an Uncle Mike sling stud, so you could put an Uncle Mike sling loop on there. So the CTR had a lot of innovative features. It's still one of our most popular stocks, still a crowd favorite. Later on, our next fully featured kind of flagship carbine stock was the MOE SL. And we wanted to give the customer the ability to, again, fit any buffer tube with an optimal fit, sling mounting options, the rubber butt pad, all those great features, but we wanted to make the locking kind of passive to the user. And we did that with 2 nickel boron coated leaf springs. And they would put pressure on the buffer tube, so regardless of tube size, again, you would have a perfect fit. While you didn't have to remember to activate that one like a CTR, it did cause some drag on the tubes. Doesn't bother most people, but it was a little harder to adjust than a CTR. So we had all these features we really liked. We wanted to figure out how to do an updated carbine stock that would kind of bring the best of both worlds. So what you see here is the DT carbine stock. You'll see that distinctive A-frame pattern reminiscent of the CTR, ambidextrous QD sling mounting points, and they're rotation limited. Fun fact, more recent CTRs, we rolled that change into them too. So after almost 20 years, you can finally get a CTR stock that's rotation limited in the QD cups. It's also got an 1.25 inch footman's loop on the rear that you can run a sling through if you don't need that QD capability. You'll notice the lever looks a lot like a CTR stock also, but there's no lock on the front. Reason being, DT stands for dual tension. Unlike the CTR, no lever on the front, there's a passive mechanism in here that doesn't have any friction like the MOE SL leaf springs. You're not going to have to worry about that drag on the buffer tube. You're also not going to have to remember to lock it on to get that optimal fit. Best of both worlds. So when we retract the pin at the end of the stroke, a large block comes down also. When we release it, pin goes into the hole in the keyway, block rides up, puts tension on the bottom of that keyway and takes all the slop out of the stock. So ease of adjustment of the CTR, passive to the user, nothing active to lock like the MOE SL. Rotation limited QDs, a new optimized butt pad with a slight curve to it. It uses the MOE SL footprint, so if you want a longer butt pad for more length of pull, you can get one. But this one's curved to rest on your shoulder, make it easier and more consistent to mount the rifle. It also takes your CTR cheek riser. Cool feature there. You do have to be aware that if you run your stock shorter than fully extended, you can get charging handle impingement. But if you use an AR stock on a platform other than an AR, then you've got a cheek riser option. Give you different comb heights for any kind of optic that you may mount on your rifle. So moving on from the DT, which is a fully featured kind of our new flagship carbine stock. The next one we released was the MOE PR. MOE, like most of our MOE line, Magpul original equipment, tremendous value for the money, a ton of features at a price that's very hard to compete with. So we maintain all the same features of the original MOE stock that everybody knows and loves. It accepts CTR cheek risers, so you can fine tune your comb height. Still got to be mindful of that charging handle impingement. Still got a non-slip rubber butt pad. This one's a little bit different. It's the one from the MOE SL. We've got an enhanced version for more length of pull. It's got the rolled toe for easy mounting. And then moving forward, we've got a footman's loop for an 1¼ inch sling, right? One of the main differences in this and the MOE stock is this one is actually an M-LOK slot. So if you do want a QD cup on here, our Mag 606 M-LOK QD sling cup or any of the aftermarket ones from any number of other manufacturers, if it uses a single M-LOK slot, you can drop it on either side and have a QD sling mounting capability. Same shielded lever as the original MOE and the CTR stock. That's important on this stock especially because when you rest it on a bag or your hand, you're not going to accidentally hit the lever and collapse the stock while firing. And then what makes it the true PR function is this bag rider and near vertical kind of clubfoot wall on the front. Bag rider is important because when we rest the gun on a rear shooting support, generally a soft bag of some sort, we can slide it back and forth and fine tune our elevation, and then we can use this front wall to pull the rifle back into our shoulder. Of note, this one doesn't have any kind of tensioning mechanism in line with the original MOE stock, so buffer tube fit is going to be what it is. It's going to be loose on some, optimal on some, and tight on others because there's such a wide variance in the sizing of those tubes. All right. Next up, you're going to notice a similar stock to the last two. This is the DT PR. It's all the features of the DT stock and all the features of the MOE PR kind of rolled into one. So what you get over the MOE PR with the DT PR is that dual tension mechanism that's going to passively optimize the fit on any tube you put it on. And you're going to get a rotation limited ambidextrous QD sling mount, and you're going to get that curved DT butt pad. Still compatible with the same footprint of butt pads, so if you want the extended one from the MOE SL, that's an option you've got. And then the footman's loop is just an 1¼ inch footman's loop, no M-LOK slots because you've already got the QDs built into the stock. All right, moving on, we've got a couple more MOE stocks that have different features than any of the others we've ever released. So you'll notice I've got another A-frame carbine stock here that's reminiscent of the CTR, the original MOE, and the DT. But you'll notice there's no lever in it. This is the MOE RL, the MOE reverse lever, right? Still using that MOE SL butt pad, so if you need a longer one, you've got that option. It's got the 1¼ inch footman's loop that also takes M-LOK accessories, so if you want to mount a fixed loop or a QD sling cup, you can. No lever in the middle. We have a small, very shielded lever on the front. It's extremely easy to grab and manipulate on the rifle. There's no snag hazard like you could have with some of the other levers if you've got a sling that wraps around it. It's a very clean, minimalist, lightweight, strong stock that's got all the features you need and nothing you don't. This one does not accept any accessory cheek risers, but it's probably hard to tell on the video. It's got that optimized cheek weld from the MOE SL series of stock that gives you a little bit better head position, a little more consistent cheek weld than some of the older stocks that are just round the whole way around. Last but certainly not least, our newest stock, this is the MOE TR. TR stands for a trigger mechanism. This is a minimalist L-shaped stock, MOE SL pattern butt pads, M-LOK slots that can also function as an 1¼ inch footman's loop on both sides. And there's no pivoting lever on this one, not on the front, not in the middle. It's extremely easy to adjust and extremely easy to install. So to operate this stock, reach up on either side, pull the shielded trigger lever on the side, adjust it, release it, and it's in position. One of the other very cool things about this stock is there is a small lever with a lock on the bottom. So if you flip that to the unlock position to the rear, you can pull the trigger back further, the pin will drop down further, and you can slide it right on any buffer tube. You don't need a tool to pull anything down. You don't need to pinch pins. Slide it on the tube, release it, flip the lock on the bottom, and it's installed. It's extremely easy to put on and off of the buffer tube. Again, no secondary tensioning mechanism like you'd see in the fully featured stocks. This is another MOE level product. So if you're looking for something streamlined, very easy to use, very easy to install, very easy to take off, and has a ton of features for the price, the MOE TR might be the stock for you. So that's our 5 newest carbine stocks. They're all available at magpul.com. Probably not the last 5 we're going to do, but they're certainly the last 5 we released. Try one out, and we'll probably have more coming in the future.